Let's talk some late night Eagles here. What a day, what a win. As you can tell by my voice, a little bit hoarse, but we're going to battle through because we got to talk some Eagles here. I do want to say thanks to everybody who tuned into our watch party a little bit earlier. The numbers went crazy. And all of you who also tuned into our post-game reaction show. Back at it tonight with another video. I'm not at the studio. I'm not in front of the ring light at the at-home setup. I'm sitting on my couch because I need to give my legs a rest. I was live and standing for 8+ hours, but trying to keep some tabs on this Giants-Chiefs Sunday Night Football game. And I'm going to explain here over the next several minutes why this Eagles win is even better than I thought over the Los Angeles Rams after letting it marinate over the last few hours. Before we get into all of that, a lot of points that I want to touch on here. A reminder to subscribe to the channel. I'm so glad that all of our content is being very well received on YouTube. And this isn't me bragging, but I do think that the product that we push out there in talking about the Eagles every day, year round, with our in-depth coverage, with really good analysis that is thought-provoking, very insightful, very informative, that we do something very special. And just by sheer volume of content, there's nobody out there who's producing more Philadelphia Eagles content on YouTube than me. As a guy who grew up in the Philadelphia area, this is a lifelong dream come true. And so I'm so glad that the content is doing so well and that you're all enjoying it. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so right now. I do appreciate that. Let's get into it here. Why this Eagles win is even better than I thought. Well, just an epic comeback against one of the best teams in the NFL that we all witnessed today. And I have said this before on the show, but it is a skill to be able to win close games and pull out close games, especially against elite teams. And under Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, this has become a constant for Philadelphia. And it has to do with the culture that they have in place, obviously the talent and the depth. The Eagles as a team, I liken them to a boa constrictor. They just suffocate you and wear you down over the course of 60 minutes. And so that helps them win some of these games. But they're so tidy when it comes to their late game execution, but mentally, they never bat an eye. They never panic. They never get in over their skis. They never get scared. They never fear the opposition. And they never think that they are out of it. And Nick Sirianni preaches this all the time. We have to fight, fight, fight. We have to persevere. We have to have character. We never give up. He said it today in the locker room, and he said this a few times. There's something dangerous about a team that never gives up, that keeps throwing haymakers and punches, that has this relentless type of attack. And Jalen Hurts preaches this as well. And he said it after the game. What I'm most proud of is that the Eagles never gave up. And so this is yet another character-building win. They got a tough, gritty win in week 1 against the Cowboys. They go on the road at Arrowhead week 2, and they beat the Chiefs for the 3rd time in a row against a desperate team. They made the clutch plays late. Kansas City did not. And then today against a Rams team that had this game circled for such a long time. You could tell by how they talked about this matchup, how their social media team promoted this game. They were looking at this and approaching it as a playoff game. There was nothing that the Rams wanted to do more early in the year than to beat Philadelphia. Over their last 12 games now, they are 9-0 against all other teams across the NFL. 0-3 against the Eagles. And so for the Eagles to be in this spot where the Rams thought that they had their foot on the Eagles' throats, and for Philadelphia to come back and score 26 unanswered points, to come back from 26-7, what a victory. And I said this in my YouTube short after the game. In my lifetime, I've been blessed since the turn of the century in 2000 to witness a great era of Eagles football, thanks to Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman for a majority of it. And I have seen so many crazy and wild Eagles games. This is up there as one of the craziest Eagles games that I've ever seen in my life. And I was thinking about this after the game too. This win, with how it was pandemonium at Lincoln Financial Field, how the crowd was going crazy, how the Eagles as a team responded on the sideline and running to the end zone, Nick Sirianni included, had Jake Elliott 61-yard game-winning field goal vibes against the New York Giants in 2017 when he hit that walk-off field goal early in the year. And at that juncture of the year, the Eagles weren't looked at as a championship team, but the Eagles believed in themselves. And that really got the ball rolling for Philadelphia the rest of the way, and they had a special year and ended up winning the Super Bowl. This could be one of those early season moments that really propels Philadelphia. Now, of course, they had the great win in week 2, a good win in week 1. But the sheer craziness of this victory can really get the ball rolling for Philadelphia, hopefully too, on the offensive side of the ball. And you know what's crazy? Jake Elliott in 2017 had the 61-yard field goal. Remember the big Dallas Goedert reception on the road against the Saints last year that helped the Eagles win that game on that crosser kind of pick play? That too, a 61-yarder. And Jordan Davis's blocked field goal return, 61 yards as well. I don't know what the Philadelphia football gods have for the number 61, but that's pretty crazy right there. With the Eagles offense, why this is a great sign, even if they lost this game, I thought that this was a great sign. That the Eagles offense showed some signs of life. That this Eagles offense showed what and who they can become. Because today in the second half, we saw what this Eagles offense is capable of looking like and being. Jalen Hurts went up to Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni. Let's unleash us. Let me rip it. Put this on my plate. And after halftime, they put it on Jalen Hurts' plate, and he passed the test with flying colors. And Jalen Hurts, decisive, going through his progressions, accurate downfield, being aggressive, pushing the ball downfield, forcing the issue. Now, sometimes that naturally, organically has to happen. It does happen when you are down. So it almost helped that the Eagles were down because they were forced to be aggressive on the offensive side of the ball instead of just being overly conservative, which sometimes they are, just overly conservative. They play not to lose instead of playing to win. And in that second half, they played to win. A.J. Brown, he said, we have all these dogs. Unleash the dogs. The Eagles did that. I just really like how the pass game was aggressive. They spread things out. Everybody got involved. And the Eagles relied on their special weapons. All these players had big plays outside of Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Those are your guys. And naturally, when you got the pass game going, it opened up some things for Saquon Barkley as well, which was great. And an offense like that, it's scary because it's very difficult to stop, especially if this Eagles offensive line starts to play better. And this Eagles offensive line has been pretty mid to start the year. Landon Dickerson, you got to play better. But if the Eagles pass game can operate like that, and then in conjunction with that, and sometimes first, what has to happen is getting the run game going. And if the run game gets going and this Eagles offensive line plays better, that's the team that we saw when they played their best football last year. NFC Championship game, Super Bowl against Kansas City. And let's talk about Jalen Hurts here. This is what you want to see from your franchise quarterback. This is the quarterback that when this Eagles offense is clicking and playing its best ball, Hurts is looking like this. This is what happens when you let Hurts be Hurts. There's a reason why this guy would have won MVP in 2022 if he didn't get hurt late in the year. There's a reason why he won Super Bowl MVP, why the best games of his career have come in the biggest games, in 2 Super Bowls against Kansas City. It's because He's an elite quarterback. And Jalen Hurts is the most elite quarterback in the NFL. And the haters today and tonight have nothing to say. And they're probably just weeping and crying themselves to sleep. Because they were looking for ammunition to use to their advantage to shit on the Eagles tonight, tomorrow, until the Eagles played their next game. And in that first half, they were loading up the chamber. They had their arrows ready to fly. And they were ready to send out tweet after tweet, tweet out clip after clip from the tape. And that Jalen Hurts detractors, they were going to be relentless this week. And then Jalen Hurts shut them the fuck up. And it was a beautiful thing to see. The social media discourse this week was a joke. And this is why social media is a cesspool. The casuals don't understand how special of a player Jalen Hurts is. The Eagles are now 19-1 in their last 20 games. They're not doing that without Jalen Hurts. And I saw people in the comments section on my tweets, on my videos, people were DMing me, taking personal shots at me for defending Jalen Hurts. I mean, it got really weird. The Eagles have become like the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick Patriots and the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid Chiefs. Everybody loves to hate on them. But Hurts in the second half shut them all up. Music to my ears. After halftime, 16-22, 204 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a 140.9 passer rating. And the Rams had the number 1 defense in the NFL entering week 3. I thought Jalen Hurts couldn't throw it. I thought Jalen Hurts was incapable of throwing the ball downfield. I thought Jalen Hurts was only a tush-push merchant. That was the only play that he could make. Remember when people were saying that Jalen Hurts had no passing touchdowns going into today? Well, he had 3 today. Against a Rams defense that entering week 3 was the number 1 defense in the NFL. Had to emphasize that. And as far as Jalen Hurts making plays downfield, Hurts completed 7 of 9 passes over 10 air yards in the second half for a $154 and 2 touchdowns. What are the Jalen Hurts haters saying now? Nothing, because they can't. And another thing, too, the Eagles won this game because of the standard that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have built. You know, I alluded to that earlier, but culture is so important. Culture is important in a workplace. A lot of you would agree. I definitely agree with my personal experiences compared to where I am now and where I was before and where I've thrived and how I'm thriving now compared to where I was before. So happy to be out of the news business. It's a negative place to be. But culture matters. And Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni put this in place. As for A.J. Brown, said it all week. Big key to the game. Good things happen when you get him the ball. I mean, the yak that he was able to pick up. This is why I call him like a modern-day hybrid of Terrell Owens and Julio Jones, with how fast he can run, how physical he is, his route tree. He's not just a 20 to 20 yard line guy or an inside the 20 guy. He is a goal line to goal line threat. Game breaker. And today he showed why. I mean, the offense finally got going after Hurts threw it downfield, gave him an opportunity to make a play, one-handed catch. The touchdown, big boy football, got physical. The DB, what a flop. And a couple of third down conversions that he had, picking up yards after the catch. Huge. Jordan Davis. How about the play of Jordan Davis to start the season? Coming out of Georgia, after he was top 10 in Heisman voting for a defensive tackle, which is very rare, my biggest concern when the Eagles took him, was he a 2-down player or a 3-down player? And what is he going to become? Well, the first couple of years of his career, he wasn't in good enough shape to be a 3-down player. And the Eagles couldn't keep him on the field consistently. And then halfway through last year, something really started to click. He fell in love with Peloton. He started to shed some weight. He got in better shape. Then the Eagles this offseason showed some faith in him. They exercised his fifth-year option, guaranteeing his 2026 salary. He knows that he's extension eligible soon. He's got an opportunity to earn a bag. And Jordan Davis to start this year has been the MVP of the Eagles defense. Great as a pass rusher, great as a run stopper, playing at a legitimate all-pro level. And the field goal blocks today, game-changing, season-changing plays. He reached nearly 17 miles per hour at that size on the blocked field goal return for a touchdown. This guy is a freak. And it's so awesome to see a guy with high character playing this well. A guy who Nick Sirianni was very high on. The Eagles fined him because he didn't pass his conditioning test. But it's made him who he is today. One of the top interior defensive linemen in the game. And now, Jordan Davis, alongside Jalen Carter, scary duo potentially for the foreseeable future. Kevin Patullo, I hope you learned something today. Can't be so vanilla and conservative and predictable. Got to be more aggressive with this talent. The defense kept the Eagles in it by forcing all of those field goals. They bent, they did not break, and they generated some good pressure on Matthew Stafford. Got to get better against the run. Still gave up some plays downfield, but they're starting to round into form, I believe. And next week, another huge matchup. Eagles 3-0, Buccaneers 3-0. The Eagles have been embarrassed by the Buccaneers of late. They've got an opportunity to reverse that. Another huge game in the NFC, which could really have major seeding and playoff implications by season's end. All right, wanted to hop on the mic, talk some late night Eagles here. I need some tea and some honey. I'm going to get that now. Looks like the Chiefs are going to beat the Giants. It's 22-9, 3:30 to go in the fourth quarter. Cowboys lost today. Commanders won with Marcus Mariota. Giants going to fall to 0-3. Eagles 3-0. Things looking nice inside the NFC East. All right, I'll be back in the studio early tomorrow. Video's going to be out in the morning. Be on the lookout for that, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.